Looking for toys that'll get the biggest reactions?
Yes, please.
Walmart has jaw-dropping toys like For Real Daisy Yoga Goat.
Awesome.
Razor Crazy Cart Shuffle.
Whoa!
Hot Wheels, Bluey 3-in-1 Airplane Playset, and more. Aren't you gonna say cool?
I'm saving it for the holidays.
Smart. Welcome to your Walmart.
Morning people wake up for peace and quiet. McDonald's breakfast people, we wake up for the sweet rush of getting that warm, delicious breakfast right before it ends.
Crush your morning goals with a steak, egg, and cheese bagel or any breakfast sandwich and snag another one for just $1 with the buy one, get one deal. Only in the McDonald's app. Limited time only at participating McDonald's. Valid once per day. Must opt into rewards.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
He says to me, he goes, well, you need to cut off the attitude.
Well, now you know how that feels, don't you?
And now, Cheese Wits.
You know what I am?
Tired?
No, I'm a mouth breather.
Yeah, you are.
I was in the grocery in the line, and I don't know why I became so aware that I had my mouth like a little bit open breathing. I was like, I must look like a mouth breather right now. People are judging me. I don't know why I became aware of that. It's such a ridiculous thing to become aware of.
You know who has worse problems than you in that respect?
And mouth breathing?
Yeah.
Your ex-husband, because he's still breathing?
Well, yeah. And anyone who knows him.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving.
And happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
But also the people in the church choirs who are singing like a prayer.
Yeah, that's a little weird, isn't it?
Have you seen those videos?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah. It's disturbing.
There are multiple church choirs, and there are videos going around making fun of them because they are singing like a prayer as if it is a religious song and as if going down on their knees was referring to praying.
Somebody's praying.
Somebody's saying, oh, God.
But it ain't the people on the knees.
I don't believe in church singing. There's this, everything goes back to Family Guy. There was this skit where they said, oh, we're going to church on Sunday. Okay, so they go to church and they start singing a hymn. And the hymn is something like, if we all sing in unison, it makes us closer to God. Amen. Okay.
I remember going to Sunday school when I was a wee tad, singing, yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. And I knew right then, Jesus don't love me. If he knew what was going on at home, he'd be doing something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus knows you touch yourself.
Oh my! I will be completely happy today if we don't go, maybe 40 minutes. I am so fucking busy today.
Are you?
I'm fine, but if we did have to Christopher it and cut out early.
Well, if that's what you want to call it, that's fine. I actually have to run into somebody's house in 2 minutes. So if you want to cut it off in 2 minutes, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Happy Thanksgiving. Fuck all y'all.
Oh, I had a run-in with the law.
Again?
Yes, yesterday. And it was actually, it was a pleasant experience, though it started out not so good. So they're doing some road construction on a main road that I was traveling on, a major main street area, and the road said detour, and then up a little bit more, it had a couple of cones, and it said detour again. And then you know how lots of times now they put up like the cones and they split the road. Like, okay, only half of it can come down and the other half. So that's what I thought was going on because a car in front of me went up that way. That's not what was going on. And the cop is yelling at me from his vehicle. He gets out of his vehicle because he was sitting in his vehicle. Stop, stop. And he's just really reading me, just yelling at me. So I stop, I roll it down, and I was not dumbfounded anymore. I figured out that, oh, I've made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I see the cones did not come over and make it into 2 lanes. It's blocking the southbound, so you can't go whatever. So he looks at me and goes, did you see the signs? And I said, I did. It said detour. And I went straight because I saw the other vehicle go straight. Well, they're with us. Well, I don't know that. I'm just sort of following traffic and not really.
Did the signs have an arrow? Like a lot of times when it'll say detour and then an arrow to tell you where to detour to?
It just said detour.
Well, then that doesn't tell you anything.
Right. So he says to me, he goes, well, you need to cut off the attitude.
Well, now you know how that feels, don't you?
Well, I got to tell you. So then the attitude comes all of a sudden.
Oh.
Right? I'm in the buffet line and you're cutting me off from the prime rib. So I said, yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. And he said, I mean it. And I'll tell you what, you back up. And I start backing up. Then he comes back as I start backing. He says, you back up and you go that way. And I said, okay, I will. And I start backing up and he comes back to my car. You know, this is a ticketable offense. And I said, well, you go ahead. Give me a ticket. Give me a ticket if you feel so inclined. He goes, you pull over right there. And so I pull over a little bit. There's really no place to pull over. He comes back to the car and he completely changes. He goes, listen, I don't want to be a dick to you. Let's start over.
Too late.
My name is, and I said, well, how are you? My name is. He goes, why did you come up this way? I said, because it's a detour. He goes, but you know, I said, but the car in front of me went. And now you're letting me know they were with you. And I thought it was that deal where they cut the road in half because it's wide enough and they make 2 lanes going in the same thing. Because it's not it's a main street. Like here's where all the businesses are. It's a street, not a thoroughfare. And he said, okay, I get that. Well, today I go through, they've got it totally different. They've got it completely blocked off, road closed. They've got the big, the big slatted blockades up with the orange and white stripes, a police car, and an arrow. I guess they figured out because I'm guessing lots of people did the same thing.
I was going to say, you weren't the only one because
no, I absolutely was not. That's why he was so pissed, I'm sure.
They put, at least here where there is construction as our state flower, they put the detour signs also on the road that you detour to. Like you have detoured, this is the way that you go.
Yeah, none of it was done.
So if there's no arrow saying detour, go this way, then how are you supposed to know what they're even talking about? And so also, I don't know about there, but here it'll say road work ahead, and there is never any road work ahead. They just never went back and got the sign.
That's a lot. We see a lot road work, speed zone. There's nothing. You're like, the fuck? Where's the speed zone? I don't get it. They not. Oh, Christopher.
He had to go into his friend's house.
Yeah, he had to go in and do his knee prayer. So what I've so what the deal was is it's the laziness of the town, of the city workers.
Yeah.
Because if that was a state job, it would be fucking signed up the ass.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have the signs everywhere. If it was a private company, it'd be all kinds of signs. But when it's the local workers, the guys who lean on a shovel for the city, minimal amount of work, they put minimal amount of effort in. Now, that's not to say they all suck, because they don't all suck. Well,
no, and I would just like to point out they definitely work harder than me, regardless. So.
Oh yeah, well, most of them work harder than me. I think. There are some, I'm not so sure, Jess. I'm not so sure. There are a lot of shovelingers. My friend spent 30 years in the highway department out in Shirley, Massachusetts. And he said, yeah, there's certain things you do to get your pay up and you never have to use them. Like you through your, I don't know, third class license. And there's certain things you get because you never use them, but your pay goes up. And that's a nice thing.
Is that because of a union thing?
That's because of a union.
Yeah.
Unions are fantastic.
Listen, I would join SAG-AFTRA if it didn't cost $3,000.
Oh yeah. I remember my first radio gig. We were, we had an opportunity to join AFTRA, and we were encouraged not to by station people. We didn't know. We were all young. We didn't know that they weren't supposed to say anything to us. Like the program director wasn't supposed to tell us not to do it because he was management, and management's not supposed to say anything to you about it. But he's Mark Rossi telling us, don't do it. You don't want to.
Radio is pretty historically known for not following any of the labor rules.
Oh, really? I can't. Jess, please.
I know I wasn't telling you anything you didn't know, but there are people, there are a person listening who are not aware.
There are our grammar stuff. There are person
listening.
There are person listening. I think, I have listened recently to a couple of 3-4 other podcasts. They're no better than we are. They aren't. They're no better. The difference is they've had a high-end career in entertainment, and now they're slumming and milking the podcast industry for all they can get.
Yeah.
And eating up all the dollars from anybody who wants to sponsor them. And I've got to sponsoring a podcast, not an entirely bad idea, because as we've said 100 times, I don't want to already go to it, but radio sucks. Podcasting is at least entertaining, and you get everything in a podcast you get from modern radio.
Yeah, and podcasts are actually more popular than radio today.
And because radio doesn't give you the local news, neither does a podcast. They don't give you the local weather, neither does a podcast. And they'll give you entertaining Saturday Night Live stories and interesting stories from whatever TV show they were on. At least that's interesting. Did Chris really leave us?
I don't think so. I think he's coming back.
Oh, he's just making. He's probably visiting his dealer
or his mother.
His mom. So what? By the way, so this weekend when I give you a call, I don't know if you want to talk about that at all. The mom part of it. I know one part of it you can. I don't know if we want to wait for Christopher for that. But just so people know, we are friendly sometimes off when we're not podcasting. We do communicate now and again. Not too often about things. Is any word on your thing? You can't even talk about it. Never mind. You can't even talk about it.
No, the thing that had to do with my job is being resolved.
Oh, good. Good. But you still can't talk about it in the way you would.
At no point ever. Probably. No.
But
until I don't work there anymore.
Right.
At which point then I'll spill all. But
just I can't wait for your tell-all book to come out.
Right. But the hope is that I get to just keep this job until I retire, because who the hell wants to go find another job?
I was talking to a friend today at the Home Depot. She's a manager there, and she's going out on an interview for a different managerial gig at a gig that'll. Home Depot notoriously is not high paying.
Yeah.
Also, this is kind of bullshit too. One of the founders of Home Depot died last week or the week before.
No, it's been longer than that.
I thought it was just a couple weeks ago. Well,
it was at least close to the election, because there's a list of companies going around that did donate to Trump or didn't donate to Trump. Right. And the Home Depot ownership or foundership was split. and the guy
Right.
who donated to Trump
Yeah.
is the one who died.
Yeah. See what happens.
And so, right. So, and I had
Yeah,
heard
so
about that
3
within a
weeks
couple
ago.
of days of the election. So he
Yeah, so
died around election
3
time.
weeks. So he died 3 weeks ago, maybe.
Mm.
Because it's only the election's only been like 3 weeks. It's not even been 20 days.
In fact,
Not
it's
3
been
weeks yet.
22, but okay.
Come on, when was the election? Wasn't it the 8th? Was it? I don't know.
It was the 5th.
Was it the 5th?
Did people wait and vote on the 8th? Is that why we are where we are?
Well, the crazy people do.
Yeah.
I didn't have the date in my head. Are you really?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I have the 8th stuck in my head?
I don't know.
I don't know why. So so anyway, so so that's what I was gonna say. Do you know that at the Home Depot you do not get an employee discount? Have you ever heard of
what?
I've never heard of a place that big that employees don't get, like a 10% discount or a 15% discount.
Something.
Never heard of it. I was shocked to find that news out.
Wow.
I was absolutely. Are you shitting? Really? Those cheap motherfuckers. That goddamn motherfucking Home Depot bastard.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, she's going out to interview, and we were talking about the interviewing process, and I bring that up just because of what you said. Who wants to go and find another job? It's fucking brutal out there.
Yeah.
There's plenty of work, but finding work that honors your experience is brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what your experience is, if you're a 30-year carpenter with 30 years of carpenter experience, they're not paying you like you're a 30-year carpenter.
Right.
They're not paying you like you can do finished carpentry work like nobody's business, which is a fucking art form.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people people probably do understand it, but if you don't do it, you may not understand it. But it's a fucking art form.
At least if you're a carpenter, you can do independent work on your own without, I can't call up the neighborhood Facebook group and go, hey, does anybody need me to voice over anything?
I know a guy. And I know a guy. if you're there. No, but you used to be able to kind of do that, right? You used to be able to, like, if you worked in a local area, in a radio market, and you were not working in radio anymore, you could call them and say, hey, listen, do you guys need any part-time work over there?
Mm-hmm.
I work it. And they say, oh yeah, come on in. Let's see what you're about. You used to could do that, Jess.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can't do that anymore. It's not there. And the interviewing process is so it's kind of demeaning in a way.
Yeah.
Because it gives no, at least in my experience, I don't know in other people's experience. In my experience, I find it demeaning, and it's very talk downish, and there is no love for people who have experience in anything. That looked like Christopher's eye.
Did you see
what looked like my eye?
Your eye looked like your eye when you saw it.
Was it my itchy eye?
No, it wasn't. It was not your itchy eye. As far as I know, it wasn't your itchy eye. I don't know what you were doing
as far as you know.
Came back. Before you came back, I have no idea what you were doing. I'm unawares. Did you take care of your friend?
I told you I'd get off for a minute, and I got off for. I did.
Is that all it takes you? Is a minute, Chris?
Guy, he wanted to give me his bowling balls. He's got like some sort of macular degeneration or some shit, and so,
So let me get this right. A guy gave you his balls.
Bet you heard that.
And he got off for a minute.
You got off.
That's correct. I did, and it's because of his macular degeneration.
Well.
When you call my name.
We thought
what guy is lose this? Oh, well, he's a sight.
It's like his phone has lupus. It really is. It's like his phone has such an issue with staying connected. Or are you?
I'm sorry. Did Did you say my phone has lupus?
I did. I did. Your phone just makes these fucking weird noises just all of a sudden. Just shaky signal. Are you in? Are you in Baltimore?
No, I'm actually between Baltimore and Frederick, on Route 26.
Ah.
I'm like smack dab in between, but it's major metropolitan area here. I mean, I've seen 4 or 5 cars. So
some of the absolute worst
at 4:19 in the afternoon in the second worst commute in the country. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the day before Thanksgiving. Everybody's got other things to deal with.
That's true.
I was out today. The traffic was unbelievably light. The traffic was really, really light.
That just reminded me. I gotta go.
Come on.
There it is. That phone is.
Is it? Wait until after we're done. Wait a minute, my lupus? I give the fuck up.
It's you know what it's like? It's like, in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the original cartoon, when his nose starts going wee wee, and they all start. That's what Chris's phone is like. He wants to play in the reindeer games, but his phone just won't let him.
Yeah,
it just won't let him. What's going to happen? Hey, Jess, what?
And he's gone.
Unbelievable.
You made fun of him too much.
I'm sure it's not him. I'm sure his phone is it's AI.
Oh, and he's back.
There is AI.
And the guy was Jewish. Wait a minute. You didn't hear the whole joke? God,
no.
Oh, Lordy. Well, again, what is the fabulous service you have?
What is the fabulous service? It's Consumers Fuckular or something.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Yeah.
No, this is the T-Mobile,
which I never have that kind of problem with.
Well, guess what? I do.
Mm-hmm.
T-Mobile right here. This is the issue, and I've got fucking 3 bars right now.
Well,
and I'm in front of a T-Mobile store, for fuck's sake.
Well, that matter. Yeah, God, I thought you had Cricket. I thought you had Cricket Mobile with the extra large keys.
I've got Jesus. I should not have gotten my parents an iPhone. I should have gotten them the Cricket. And with just the big phones on, I've actually had to turn their iPhones into the Cricket phones. You can put on old person mode on iPhones, and it has like a button for call, a button for internet, a button for text. That's it. And they're big buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I've had to turn that on, and it was last week after Mom had her fall. I'm like, okay, we got to make this shit easier. Okay, fine. So my mother calls me, and the voicemail that I've got is her just going off. Her just and going off in the background. I can't figure out how to use this fucking thing, John. The phone worked just fucking fine until your son had to replace these goddamn. That was the message.
I will. When you have children, if you are a parent, if there are the 2 parents in the house, whenever your kid is a shithead, it's always the other parent's kid. Or whenever they piss you off, it's always the other parent. If your kid does something fantabulous, look what my daughter, look what my son did. Look what my daughter did. So if they rack up the car, look at what your daughter did.
That also works when you're talking about parents, by the way, because the number of times that I text my siblings and say, your mother did.
Oh, does it?
Every time, just about.
Wow.
So
his report card was great. It's my kid. His report card was wonderful. Well, he wasn't so wonderful when he raped the Jones boys, was he? No, he wasn't.
Oh my! The Menendez household. So, Jess, are you still in the will?
Only because I now control all of the paperwork.
You do now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It was hit right over the plate, and I apologize if we just back up for a second. Wally,
Yes.
Jess has lost the will dealing with those people. Okay.
I called up Jess this weekend. I just got to share about one thing. I said, geez, listen, I'm just calling you just as a friend, not as a work related. Just want to know how you're doing. Are you okay? And she said,
what the fuck?
She said, I'm out of the will.
There you go.
Her response was, my mother, I'm out of the will. And I wasn't calling her about that at all. I was calling her about the other thing we can't talk about at all. I just like, holy shit. And just, I guess, Jess, did your mom went off the deep end for a minute?
Oh, not for a minute. Yesterday, she left me a voicemail saying she hates me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the holidays are here.
Look at, and they're not even in the same fucking place.
God,
they're in different states, and the holidays are fantastic.
You think you were at my house hearing that shit?
Can I tell you that? And I this maybe this is a little braggadocious on my part. We have fantastic holiday times.
Yeah, you say that every year.
Well, we just do. We don't have any of that bullshit.
Of course, you keep your sister locked away.
3 nights ago, she called me 5 times within 4 minutes. I don't know how she fucking listen. She has a bad, partially unusable arm because of the stroke she had last year or earlier this year. How she was able to manipulate a phone to call me 5 times in 4 minutes. I didn't answer any of those calls, obviously.
My mother also has an unusable arm. And after she said something shitty to me a few days ago and I hung up on her.
Yeah.
She actually, what she said to me was, because I told her I wasn't going to do a thing she wanted me to do. She said, you have done nothing for me. And I said, oh, really? Okay. And I hung up the phone. She called me back immediately and kept calling over and over and over again until I blocked her. And she left me.
I'm sorry, you had to block your mother?
I had to block my mother. She left me voicemail after voicemail after voicemail. And the last one said, I hate you. And I'm sorry I made you my power of attorney.
That's when you got to call her up. Guess what? I'm not just your power of attorney. I am everything.
Oh, I don't have to. She tried calling the lawyer to get me removed as power of attorney, and he already had the letter of incapacity. And now she thinks I've had her declared incompetent, was her words. So, yeah, it's a whole.
Well,
it's a whole.
If the one glove on your one good arm fits, it's true.
Yeah.
She is. I feel horrible, Jess, for you that even in your mom's sort of her incapacitated way, she's horrible to you.
She actually is trying really hard to get my stepsisters who hate her to be her power of attorney.
They've changed their numbers 3 times. They didn't just block her. They changed their numbers and moved out of state.
One of them is obsessed with what's happening with my parents' money.
Yeah.
If she became power of attorney, there would be no money left because she feels like she's entitled to it. Like, she's very concerned with how much money will be left for her after they die. And the rest of us are like, what? Can we just let them pay for their living until, while they're still here? She hates my mother.
She just wants her money.
My mother asked her to be power of attorney if my other stepsister couldn't do it.
And of course, none of them are going to be. It will be you.
Well, because it already is me, and because my mother does not have the capacity to make rational decisions, it's just going to stay me.
Man, so how does that work? The taking that doing that incapacitated thing. How does that work?
A doctor just evaluates whether or not she should be making important decisions about finances and other things.
I gotta do that with my sister.
So we had asked for the letters for both of my parents because until we had the paperwork, the power of attorney paperwork redone, my parents were each other's power of attorney first. And then I was the backup and for my mother, and my stepsister was the backup for my stepfather. And so a lot of institutions, especially like banks, will not talk to you even if you're listed as the backup, because the first person has to be the one. And so we got these letters so that we still cannot get into my stepfather's retirement account, which is what's paying for their living expenses. And so we're getting some money from that but it's being mailed out to the house that I just sold.
Oh, great.
And the forwarding for that is going to expire in a couple of months. And so we have to figure out how to we can't change the address. We can't change the amount that they're sending, nothing, because they won't talk to my stepsister because she's the backup on his power of attorney paperwork. So we got these letters to say, hey, the main power of attorney does not have the capacity to do any of the things that need to be done here. So now you need to talk to her.
But
But now that letter of incapacity is actually preventing my mother from firing me, which she thinks would be some sort of punishment, I think. But as I said to the lawyer, I said, listen, not being her power of attorney would not hurt my feelings at all. And he said, no, that's a terrible job.
So how is your dad, by the way? He's not vicious, is he?
No. And he's pretty far into the Alzheimer's. So yeah. It's mostly a matter of trying to keep him safe. Apparently a few weeks ago, he tried to escape through a window. So yeah.
Well, I told you when my sister tried to escape her place and she rolled her wheelchair. And she's laying on the ground flopping about from the waist up. Just flopping about.
But no, he's harmless. He's not even involved in this argument because he doesn't understand it at all.
Well, how is he? So the court, or I don't understand how any of this shit works, but can't someone say, listen, he has Alzheimer's and he can't make any decisions?
No, Chris left the call again. Yeah, that's the letter of incapacity. That comes from the doctor. So that's you for your mom. So who's him? Who your sister? My stepsister.
Stepsister?
His oldest daughter.
And she's not making the decisions? No,
she is, but she also just went through cancer, and she had colon cancer, and so she's going through her own physical and emotional stuff. And
age sucks, Jess.
Yeah. So, so she said she had it on her list to, it's on her to-do list to call and get it settled. But we only just got the letters of incapacitation last month. And then in between then and now, we've been, we sold the house. We had there was other stuff happening.
Jess, you have done nothing for your mother. You sold nothing.
I know. I've done.
That wasn't you cleaning up cat shit.
Not a thing. We've even gotten my cousins involved to talk to their mother because their mother is a bigger asshole than mine.
Oh my God.
And she is doing her thing in the background, she's pushing this fight. She's egging my mother on.
She sounds like she sounds like, is she your mother's sister?
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like is there a third sister? Please say there is.
Oh, there is.
Oh, see,
she's got the biggest crazy of all.
Now, you know what they sound like now? They sound like those three Greek witches share the eyeball. They share the eyeball. Oh my word. Oh, yeah. I bet you this is my calling.
And there's Chris back again.
Yeah.
I didn't know I left.
Oh, well, you did.
You really didn't, Chris? Yep.
Of course I did, you fuck.
Yeah, it's my sister calling. Yeah.
Well, she can't talk to you right now.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm involved in something right.
I mean, I have 3 texts from my stepsister because apparently my mother's been calling her, blowing her phone up.
God damn. I can't.
She's
I
big
can't
mad.
See, I'm kind of happy that I was a foster kid and I have no parents.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad I don't have any of that bullshit.
I mean, the thing is, at this point, I pretty much have a handle on.
Look at, she just called back a second time. 2 times in less than 30 seconds.
I pretty much have a handle on the bills and everything that needs to be done, and all of the contact people that need to be able to contact me about anything regarding her are able to do so. So there's no reason for me to talk to her anymore.
No, absolutely not. Oh my word. It's that phone ringing is so distracting to me right now because I know I'm going to have to call her after we're done.
Well, turn it off.
I was thinking of putting her on the air. I'll bring her and turn on. I can't. It's horrible.
I want some caramel candies.
No, she will tell me about all the candy she doesn't like. She likes white chocolate,
which is not a thing.
Which is it might have some cocoa milk in it. It's just not a thing. It's sugar.
Right. That's it.
If
I also enjoy sugar.
Oh, I made fudge, you guys. First time I made some fudge, chocolate fudge with walnuts. It came out fucking spectacular.
Oh, did you need our addresses?
It's I'm telling you, it's spectacular. And then at my wife's work, her friends, her coworker said, he didn't make peanut butter fudge. I like peanut butter fudge.
Son of a bitch.
I'm like, well, hello. But I might have to make some peanut butter fudge.
People who do that shit, like,
I know, right?
He did this nice thing and didn't do what I wanted?
Motherfucker.
What? That's like the people that used to call us at the radio station. We're in the middle of Bras for a Cause for breast cancer awareness or St. Jude Radiothon. And people will call in the middle of it and go, well, why aren't you raising money for this charity? Because we're raising money for this charity right now.
Right. We can't do all of them.
Right.
We're not the telethon radio station. We've decided to go with tits. That's what we've decided to do. We're supporting tits because tits need support.
Mm-hmm.
If tits don't get support, they become testicles.
Oh, the great promos I used to get to write for Bras for a Cause. Thank you for your support. And
when you get to be creative like that, it's
so fun.
Spectacular.
And Dave Steele would voice these things and he would crack up. And sometimes I would use his cracking up in the promo.
Oh, yes. Yeah. When who do we have? We had who did I use? I used what's his face down in Flower Mound. The same guy we used when we were in
JJ?
Yeah, JJ McKay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever his real name was.
The dead guy.
Yeah. Yeah. He had he had such a silk. What was his name? I don't know. Flower Mound, Texas, he was from.
I just found out, speaking of real names, I was talking to Brad about his baby girl.
Yes.
And they hadn't posted her name. So I texted him and asked what her name was. And her name was Austin Joe. And I was like, so this is where I determined that Austin is not actually your last name, Brad. Or you've done something. You've made a choice. I have known him for years. Not until that day a couple weeks ago did we find out each other's real names.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've always known your last name.
Well, yeah, you were my employer. You had to sign my timesheets or paychecks or whatever.
Yeah, if there was such a
see, I didn't know your last name. I thought your last name was your mother's last name, and I'm like, doesn't that sound debonair?
No, but my stepfather has a niece whose first name is also Jessica, and so she has that last name.
Oh, so she's debonair.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
What mother? I thought you were going to come up with some sort of great mother's last name, Chris. I thought
yes,
you
her
had
name
last name
is
Biff.
Fucker. Motherfucker.
Motherfucker. Jessica Motherfucker. Oh, you have your mom's last name. She didn't change it when she got married.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Good for her. You know, I must say, Chris's parents are of the three of us. Chris has the best parents.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, my mother's blacker than Fred Sanford right now after that fall.
Yeah, well,
but
that doesn't make her a bad woman.
No, she's fine, except for those hateful messages she likes to leave on my voicemail, a la, Char baby. It's something else. But
when you were
they're generally okay.
When you were a youngster, you had good parents.
The two Utes.
Yeah. The two Utes, the Utes in your family had good parents. Did you say Utes?
What's a Ute?
Did you say the two Utes? I might watch that movie. Just because when I go back and look at some of this shit now, some of these old, God damn, what I didn't realize is how fucking beautiful Marissa Tomei was.
Oh my God.
And how she is still stunning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
Marissa Tomei is stunning. I don't know how old Marissa Tomei is, but she is stunning, and she looks stunning without looking like she's done anything other than just be Marissa Tomei.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like she's had 4 nose jobs and a cheek lift and it just doesn't look. She just looks like
she's 59.
God. She's beautiful. She's absolutely, she's just stunning.
Mm-hmm.
And I see her now and like, holy crap. Some people you look at, you're like, oh boy, ooh, he hasn't aged well. He hasn't aged very well. Look at him. Ooh. Some people like Richard Gere is still fucking a great looking guy. And what is
Richard Gere? He aged fine. You know who else aged fine? John Larroquette aged fine.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Selleck aged fine.
I think people who have embraced age look great.
Henry Winkler is great.
He is.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys see the exchange? Sort of. It wasn't direct, but the exchange between Henry Winkler and Jelly Roll.
Yes,
I did not.
It was so wholesome. So Henry Winkler went on live with Kelly and whoever she's live with now, her husband.
Right.
And he said, I like to write notes. Sometimes it's thank you notes. Sometimes it's, hi, I'm a fan of yours notes. And he sent a note to Jelly Roll saying, I'm a big fan. And Jelly did a video that he sent back through Kelly to play for Henry Winkler. That was just like, I can't believe Henry Winkler is saying hi to me, and I can't believe I got this note, and it means so much. And Henry Winkler was like, what a nice guy he is. It was just the most wholesome, adorable thing.
So I think Jelly Roll is a fucking nice guy.
Yeah.
I think he is the epitome of, I did some bad shit. I paid my dues. Now look at me. He has fucking taken he took the worst of what he was and turned it around and now is making the best of every fucking thing.
And he is trying to help other people do the same thing. Yes. I really love seeing, in every town he goes to, he goes and visits like the juvenile detention centers and the prisons. And he talks about how he changed his life and how you can change your life. And he built recording studios in juvenile detention centers.
Yeah. Well, and when a guy that looks like him says, listen, I turned my life around,
mm-hmm.
It's a lot more believable than when, a guy who gets a slap on the wrist and has to do community service, Brad Pitt or somebody. Yeah, come on, guy. You were born with every fucking thing.
Yeah, Jelly had to I don't know what kind of hoops he had to jump through, but just to be able to, he wanted to do a world tour. And because he was a felon, he was not allowed to leave the country. He couldn't get a passport. So he had to do some kind, he did something because he was able to go to Canada to do some shows up there. But that was like a restriction that he was going to have to figure out how to overcome.
You got to pay your penance. Like there are some guys like Snoop Dogg. He's a guy, 50 Cent. He's a guy who's turned, like he is, just a genuine good guy.
Speaking of Snoop Dogg, this is total departure of the subject, but not really because it's related to Snoop Dogg. There was a thing going around on Blue Sky that was name a doctor who is more qualified than Dr. Oz. And people were doing like Dr. Pepper and Dr. this and Dr. that. And I chose Dr. Dre.
Oh, nice. Nice. And a reference not lost on people will appreciate that, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think whenever someone of our age in our 50 pluses mentions a guy like Dr. Dre or something, people go, how do you know who that is?
Yeah. That was our music, child.
We're about the same age.
Yeah.
Well, you're closer to his age, I'm sure, than I am. And we're about the same age. He's got to be. He can't be in his 60s.
Let me Google again.
I can't believe he's in his 60s.
How old is Dr.
It's
Dre?
just in the Google
He is
machine.
59 years old, like Marissa
There
Tomei.
it is.
Oh, like Marissa Tomei.
Wow. But I got to tell you, a lot less fuckable.
I don't know about that. I'm looking at him.
Yeah, see now, just because you wouldn't touch him, Chris, doesn't mean Jess wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that is true. We do have to give equal time for.
That's right.
Now it is showing Snoop Dogg is 53, Eminem is 52, and Ice Cube is 55.
Wow.
Snoop Dogg is 53.
Yeah, I would have thought he was older.
He looks older than 53.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like he would be older. What about Mama Said Knock You Out? How old is he?
LL?
Yeah, how old is Going Back to Cali? Going Back to Cali. How
He's
old
56.
Now he looks way better than Snoop.
Yeah.
He does. He looks Snoop must be 63. He can't be 53.
Says he was born in 1971.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
He's not aging so well.
No.
Not as well as certainly not as well as LL.
Although I look at this picture of him and I think he has always looked like he looks right now.
Yeah, so he's got the Wilford Brimley syndrome.
Yeah.
Where he looked like he's been 80 since he was 22.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he looked 53 when he was 23.
Yeah.
And he's just stayed the same way. Because Wilford Brimley, when he was 30, he looked ancient. There are some actors that are like that. That just, or some people, some of the celebrities, they looked ancient, and that's primarily, I think, why they worked. Because they could do nimble things but look like they were ancient. Do you remember there was speaking of Henry Winkler earlier, there was a show with it was Henry Winkler, William Shatner, and
they were like on a road trip
William Shatner, Henry Winkler, and one other guy. Man, it was fucking fantastic.
Who was on that with them? Who was the third guy?
I don't remember who the third guy was.
I watched that show. I remember liking it.
Oh, it was so good because they were just so genuine. Those guys were so genuine. Yeah, did you find out who the third guy was? Chris, do you remember that show at all?
A vague recollections.
Let me see.
George Foreman and Terry Bradshaw. Better late than never.
Terry Bradshaw, that was it.
And George Foreman.
And George Foreman was on it. Bradshaw's a funny motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is.
That guy is a funny motherfucker. He just is. Now that's a guy who you could tell. The interesting part about that was the two athletes, Foreman, and they looked dinged. When they were out walking around doing it, you could tell those were guys who had beaten the shit out of their bodies, like really hammered them. And
Speaking of guys who always looked about the age that they look now, I started watching, I know you talked about this, Wally, Only Murders in the Building. And
Oh,
Steve Martin has always looked
yes,
like
he has.
looks now.
Yeah. He doesn't look like he's.
Well, Steve Martin looked like that in 1975.
Exactly.
Yeah. When he was doing a biscuit.
And I don't even think Martin Short looks that much older than he ever has.
No, Canada keeps him well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you like that? Do you enjoy the show at all?
Yeah. There's some parts that crack me up.
Yeah, Martin Short is just too funny.
He is, but also there are several times where either Steve Martin or Martin Short does a thing and I'm like, ha ha ha, that's Wally.
Old. Yes. Martin Short's character, his character does lean on the I'm old guy stuff.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was he was doing and Steve Martin called him on it. And I was like, that's a Wally thing. But then later, Steve Martin had to learn how to do something with the phone from
yes.
What's her name? Selena Gomez.
Yeah. And there's another very attractive woman. Selena Gomez and a billionaire. Selena Gomez, a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
To imagine and she can't be 35. I mean, she has made the most of her life in what I didn't know. And most of her billions do not come from music. She has a clothing line or something like that.
Yeah, I think she's got a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah, she's like Gwyneth Paltrow with all kinds of irons in the fire. These fucking women, they got it going on.
Taylor Swift, she may have some other irons in the fire, but her billions comes from music.
Well,
of course.
I think that what was that all about?
All right, just for our next subject after this.
I think that Taylor Swift got some great advice from
Garth.
from my girlfriend.
Oh, who's your girlfriend?
From Kelly Clarkson, when Kelly Clarkson said, "Re-record your music."
Oh, for sure.
I think she got it from Kelly Clarkson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she said, "Go ahead and redo your music," and I think that made her. It's always nice to see the music industry get fucked.
Yeah.
And she fucked them good. I'm going the wrong way. I was trying to see what Chris sent.
Yeah, and this was mine's a
you're cutting out.
Who? Huh?
Say that again. You cut out.
I said mine was about Chuck Woolery dying.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought of you when I saw that.
He hosted that show Love Connection after he was done with Wheel of Fortune.
Yes.
He went on to Love Connection. And Jess, I don't know whether you saw, but maybe this is a guy you could go out with.
Well, two things I want to say about that. First, not about the picture, but do you remember a couple of weeks ago, I was thinking when I saw Chuck Woolery died, a couple of weeks ago, I made a reference to Chuck Woolery and I said we'd be back in 2 and 2.
Yeah, you did.
Uh-huh. You did.
Because that's what he used to do. And then he dies like 2 days later. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yep.
Nice work, Wally. This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
Good job. Can you impersonate Larry David so he'll go?
Also, my ex.
This is why we can't have nice people. Because of Wally. So that, I guess that guy, is that really that guy's name that you just
That is that guy's name. And, I was given it the benefit of the doubt because I was watching it on silent and I'm thinking, okay, the guy's name is Robert Faget. Okay.
Or Fagot.
Let me tell you something. That's not his name. Chuck pronounced it as written.
Robert Faget.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to say it because yesterday Jody came home and she had a woman in her office who was trying to get a loan, who was in her mid-70s.
Oh, Lord.
Who went off on a tirade about the blacks and fags.
Oh, my God. How did my mother get to Maine?
Oh, shit. I was thinking the same thing.
What'd you say?
How did my mother get to Maine?
Oh,
yeah.
Well, she got it. And now here's the thing. My wife has a woman in her office who's black.
Uh-huh.
And this woman's just sitting there talking about how fucking horrible the blacks are. And the woman says, my dad always told me not to say bad stuff, but those fags and those blacks, she just went off. My wife said for 10 minutes, she said just fags and blacks, just constantly.
Jesus,
how they were ruining the world.
You tell your wife to give this bitch my number. I'll give her the money. Okay. I'll give her the money. It's fine. It's fine.
I know that people will sort of attribute it to being aged, that being aged, somehow you carry vernacular with you. And for sure you do. But we know listen, I don't say certain words that I may have said when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like the word fag. That's a word that was thrown around liberally when I was 17.
And you didn't really know what it meant.
It was on Three's Company the other day.
Well, it wasn't used in that. It wasn't even used sort of in that way.
No, it was. It was.
Well, it was. It meant. Yes, I did, but not with evil and horribleness in your heart.
No, because you didn't understand what you were saying.
More of a
right,
and it was more of a just a different thing. The person was different. Because Mr. Furley, clean Mr. Furley, talking. They're saying, wait, Jack's not a doctor. He's a fag.
Did he say that in the show?
Yeah. I'm like, okay.
Did he say it down at the Regal Beagle?
No. This was at the hospital when Jack was impersonating a doctor.
Oh, wow.
So Furley comes in, Dr. Tripp, Jack's not a doctor. He's a fag.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen John Ritter's son on social media?
Uncanny, isn't it?
Jason Ritter. I've seen him in a TV show. He looks just like his
Not
dad.
only does he look just like him, but I follow him on TikTok and he just gives me joy. He doesn't even have to do that much. He does some of the dumbest shit, but he is the spitting image of his father and he's funny he just gives me so much joy.
I will just because I have, a 4-day relationship with John Ritter just in shooting shows. I'm going to tell he was that guy. He was at least my experience with him in having lunch with him a couple of times and just hanging out with him and chatting with him. He's just a joyful human being, just a pleasant, fucking funny, kind.
I'd always hoped he was, and it's one of the kind of people. It's like, you really hope Betty White really is your grandmother.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure
you always hope Jack Tripper was that guy. And you always hoped that, I don't know, Mary and Barry would bring cocaine to your house. It's all those kinds of things.
All of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
Yeah,
I just saw a clip of an interview with Kaylee Cuoco, saying that she did when she was in her 20s and she was on set with him for something and she was dressed.
They did a TV show together.
Did they?
But she did that 8 Simple Rules, didn't she?
Yeah, 8 Simple Rules.
Oh, okay. I never watched that. But she said the first time she met him, she was dressed sort of, I don't know if provocatively, but maybe showing a little bit more like a 20-year-old something girl does.
Yeah.
And she went and introduced herself to him and said, "Hi, I'm playing your daughter." And he immediately took his jacket off and put it on her and said, "Please go put some clothes on. I am your dad now, and you don't need to dress like this." And gave her a big hug.
Wow. But that's the guy you wanted him to be.
Yeah.
That's exactly the guy you wanted him to be.
Yeah.
And so the thought that all, I don't know, that all actresses are are bitches and all actors are fucking lecherous human, it's just not true. Most
they're not. I mean, look, when I met the Brady kids, or at least a few of them, they were as you would expect. I mean, Cindy Brady's gone a little bit too far off the Project 2025 ledge, but she's still very sweet. She's still very sweet. And what was the other one? The young one, Michael Lookinland. He's great. Chris Knight is great. They're just normal people.
That's what you're exactly right, because that's what you hope they will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are absolutely hoping that they are going to be who you've come to think they are.
But
And
like on the
most-
other side of that, you watch like Facts of Life, and you're thinking in real life, that Mindy Cohn, I bet she's a cunt. Okay. I just bet she's a cunt.
I still bet she is.
Yeah, and she came out on that Norman Lear thing, and this smug look on her face, and it was like, okay, she's a cunt.
Yeah,
Christ.
And you're hoping that Nancy McKeon could really fix a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Nancy McKeon, I would let her give me a lube job anytime.
Oh, I was
okay.
in Nancy McKeon too.
Yeah, she was. I mean, she's the tomboy, but you know what? I thought she was miles above Blair.
Oh, way above Blair.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I know we've talked about this before, but I wanted to be Nancy McKeon. I wanted to be Joe.
I can't blame you.
Yeah.
She was interesting. I always find in television shows or movies or just in people in general, I find those kinds of people way more interesting and engaging than somebody who's living on their looks or their clothes or their makeup.
I found that now I'm probably going to have to psychoanalyze myself over this, but I always found myself wanting to be the characters, the girls that were a little bit more tomboyish.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking that's because my father made it so crystal clear that having sons was better than daughters. But so there's the psychoanalysis. But I always the what's her name in the Bad News Bears? You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. The fag. The fag.
The fag.
Right. Christy McNichol.
Christy McNichol. I wanted to be her. Yeah.
No, not Christy McNichol. She's talking about Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster was in Bad News Bears.
Yeah, I wanted to be her too.
Was not a fag though.
But also I wanted to be Christy McNichol. Which one of them was in the Quarterback Princess? Remember that after school special? Hold on.
I don't. Jodie Foster was a Bad News Bear.
Yeah.
And then Christy McNichol and Tatum O'Neal were in a movie together, what we call Little Sweethearts or some shit.
Oh, that's right. I get them all confused. They all look alike.
Quarterback Princess, 1983.
I just said that out loud in a predominantly African-American safe way. That's pretty good.
The Quarterback Princess was Jodie Foster.
Yeah, Jodie Foster.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It was Helen Hunt.
Wow. Now, there's a woman who's ruined herself with plastic surgery. She's a person who doesn't even look like she used to look.
I'm sure she's devastated for the loss, Wally.
Oh, she hurt herself. Just like what was her name? Who was baby Gray?
Jennifer Grey.
Yeah, when she had if you read all the stuff about her, doing plastic surgery killed her career. She says. Because no one recognized her anymore.
Yeah, she didn't look like herself anymore.
Huh?
She didn't look like the same person.
No, she didn't. That's what I was saying about it. She just looked completely different. And I think it was just a nose job, I think, right, Chris?
That's what it was.
Yeah, just a nose job. And they're like, we want to hire the girl with the cute nose, and you don't have the nose anymore. What happened? It's people, it's better when they stay real, I think. But I think, Jess, what you're talking about is, at least for me, I think lots of guys are attracted to women and girls who are like a utility knife, can do more than one thing, can do those things, isn't just cute or attractive or great hair, but have the wherewithal to do something. Like, I love that my wife looks great in a dress and has great legs, but it also can chop wood and throw a bale of hay and can also bake. And she has all these attributes. And it's that's very attractive to me. A person she's multifaceted, like a Swiss Army knife. She's not just one dimensional. She's completely well-rounded. Yeah, Jess, I didn't know you really wanted to. I didn't know you had the tomboyish in you.
Did you not know? I mean, I've never been like girly girl.
You've never been girly girl, but I've never. Yeah.
Hey, you want some tomboy in you?
Well,
And on
there
that
you go.
note, I need to go take some verbal abuse from my mother. So,
My God.
Oh God, you're actually going to call her back?
oh no.
So-
I just get to check my voicemails.
Jess will be having crow instead of turkey for Thanksgiving.
Oh no, she will not.
Listen, y'all. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
All right.
Yeah, you do the same. See you all next week.
All right.
You guys go ahead and click off. I'll figure it out later.
We know you will.
Chris, do we have time to wait? Oh, he left. He left.
What?
He left first.
No, I think they lost power.
All right.
You know it as well as I do. See you later.
Bye.